Welcome to Legends on Earth. It's been a little bit. I tried doing this video a month ago and I lost all my audio, so I'm redoing this whole video. It's a little windy today, and I got this microphone out, and hopefully it will cancel the wind out. We'll see in a minute. Um, this video is about. This video actually takes place right here in the Wasatch Front. I've had to get a little bit of permissions to show it, so I can't show it all or talk about it all. But it's amazing because it takes place right here in the Wasatch Front. It involves Roman coins, some crystals, a sword, and I think you'll enjoy it. So, have at it. Dan, you told me a story recently about some prospectors that were up in the Wasatch Front, right here in our backyard, and they found some really cool things. Do you want to tell us about that?
Okay, which cool things?
Well, one was there was some widow's mites, maybe from the Roman era.
Widow mites.
Widow.
Yeah, okay, I know which one you're speaking of. I already know it's okay for me to tell the story, as long as I don't include names and places, but sorry. A friend of mine, quite a number of years ago, I would probably say in the mid-90s, him and a friend of his had heard about some Spanish artifacts being found up in a specific canyon out on the Wasatch Front. And they decided to go up and look for mines and do some
Prospecting.
but that wasn't the word I'm looking for. I don't think I took my meds today. They went to do some sluicing.
Okay.
And they drove up as far as they could, which was pretty much all the way, got their equipment out, went down to the creek and started boring a hole with the water pressure they were getting. And they had a pretty good hole going on. And my buddy notices, well, he gets his metal detector out and starts detecting, see if there's any nuggets of, sizable, big enough to take home.
Sure.
And he starts getting hits, and he's fiddling around in the waste pile, and he starts pulling out these little round things, which at first he thought were, I forget what they call them, flat sinkers.
Fishing weights?
Yeah, fishing weights. And he just looked very quickly at them and dropped them in his pocket, figured he'd take a closer look when he got home. But he got a small handful of them and didn't pay too much attention to anything more. They went about their day sluicing, apparently didn't do very well. They packed up and took all their stuff home, and that night he pulled those thought to be weights out of his pocket and laid them out on the table and started cleaning them up a little bit. And he noticed that they were not fishing weights. They were what we would call widow mites, or small Roman coins that are used for trading and that kind of thing.
So Roman coins were found up at the top of the Wasatch Front.
At this point, just the widow mites, but still Roman coins.
Yes.
And of course, first question that comes to my mind is, what are Roman coins doing up in the Wasatch Mountains?
Right.
I can think of a few things that make sense, but as you'll see, the whole thing doesn't really make sense. But I think the Spanish might have carried with them Roman coins because they were cheap and they'd use them for trade and so forth. But I'm also one proponent of Romans being here in the Americas back in 775 up to about 1050. We won't go into that, but anyway, so he calls his buddy up and he says, hey, we need to go back up there. And he says, why's that? And he told him what he had found, and that kind of got him excited. And so the following day they went right back up, and this time they took the metal detectors. Well, they had them with them the first time. Of course, took the metal detectors with them, and my buddy noticed a place that was down below. You have the creek, I guess, running down the middle, and there was a flat spot down below, a little bit lower than where they were
Sluicing.
Sluicing, yeah. And he told his buddy, he said, you know, if I was going to camp up here, if there was a reason to camp here, this is where I would camp. And well, let's get the machines out and see if we can find anything. So they start going back and forth, and after not too much time, his buddy gets a hit and sounds pretty good. So they get out and they start digging in it, and he told me he remembers the ground was very hard. I mean, it was almost like caliche, if not caliche. They had to literally chisel down into it, and they exposed what looked like the hilt of a sword. And he said it was very ornate. It was half in the ground and half sticking out, and they kept chiseling away at it, and they got down far enough to see that there was a blade still attached to it. So that kind of got exciting.
So the sword was stuck straight down?
Yes, straight down in the ground. I don't think they know for sure whether it was Old Spanish, Roman, what have you. If it was Roman, to me, I think it'd be pretty much disintegrated.
But it was a pretty nice looking sword hilt.
Yeah, probably an officer's sword. They kept digging down, trying to free the blade up. And they just kept digging around. They probably had a hole 1.5 feet, 2 feet wide, and just working around the sword blade. And all of a sudden, they started hitting Roman coins, and not just a few. By the time they got done, they estimated about 400 Roman coins.
Were they the widow mites or the?
A combination
Okay.
of widow mites and
Roman.
good-sized, identifiable Roman coins.
Cool.
I think you ought to put at least a couple of pictures in here of an example of what was found. I wish I had a picture of the sword and the hilt, but from what I understand, there is no picture of it.
Really?
And I'm not quite sure where the sword is at this point. I haven't asked him.
But it's still available, possibly.
Possibly, yeah. He said if he found it, he'd send it to me.
And you were also sent a couple of the widow mites as well, right?
Yeah, I've got a couple pictures. You can insert them
Okay.
with his permission. Well, they kept digging down. They're getting closer to where the bottom of the sword should be. And they finally worked the sword loose and pull it out. They decided to keep digging a little bit because they ran into some fragments of, help me out with this one. We call it gunny sack, burlap.
Burlap.
They started running into burlap, little pieces of it. So they kept digging. Pretty soon they come to a kind of a ball of it. And they work it loose and pull it out and open it up, and it's got these 3 crystals in it. And this is the strangest damn combination of.
And I can show the crystals right here. Cause
yes, you can show the crystals.
unfortunately, the last time I interviewed you, my sound was crap, and so but I got pictures of you holding the crystals and stuff. I can show.
Good. I've got photos you can use too. But the odd thing about the crystals is 2 of them were obviously worked at one time. They were pretty clean. You know, they had chips on the corners of them. You can tell they've been banged around a bit. And they're, I don't know, 4.5, 5 inches tall on one of them, and the other's a little bit shorter, a little bit different color to it. It's darker. And then there's one that seems pretty much natural, the way it had originally come out of the ground. And then 2 of them were beveled on the bottom, as if to set them in a pedestal or put them in something.
Right.
And try to figure that one out. You got crystals, Roman coins, Spanish sword, and it
All
looked
all in the same hole.
Yeah, and it looked as though they had put a burlap bag with the crystals in the bottom. Maybe the coins were in the burlap bag, I don't know, and dropped out, or they were in something that had rotted away, and they put the sword right down through them.
Was there anything more that they found in that same hole, or anything that was significant that was...
Not that I'm aware of. I know that my friend has taken another friend of mine back up there, and they found another 200 Roman coins. So
there's got to be more up there still then if they're found that many.
You would think so, but the combination of things, I don't get it.
I know.
If anybody out there has any ideas, can make some sense out of this. I know the crystals. In fact, a friend of mine even made a smart crack about it. He said it looks like the guy went down and bought them off Etsy. Yeah, they do.
Oh,
what do you expect a crystal
There's a part
to
of
look
the
like?
story that when he brought them home, he put them on the mantle. Talk about that.
Oh yeah. I've known this guy for probably close to 15 years, and I think I'm a pretty good judge of character on people. I can tell you after getting to know him whether this person has a tendency to stretch the truth, whether this guy's a bald-faced liar, or whether this person is truthful. And I find this guy very truthful. He says it the way it is and doesn't care what you think about what he says. He's just going to tell you the way it is. And he says, Dan, you likely won't believe me, but he says, I'm telling you that one night I took these 2 nice crystals and I put them on the mantle. And he says, and they were touching. And so turned out the lights and went to bed. And the bedroom door was open a little bit. And he said after a little bit of time passed, he looked out and he noticed that there was a light coming from the living room. So he gets out of bed to go see what light they left on, and he looks up on the mantle. And he says, and I'm telling you, those 2 crystals were glowing. And he says, I've never been able to get it to do it again. So what was that all about, if true?
Right.
Which I'm assuming it was.
And I've held them, and they're just like normal crystals, and it's like there's no properties do you think that would cause them to
We're-
illuminate like that?
Well, looking at the crystals, I would say that they're more than likely quartzite crystal. Okay, they could be calcium crystal, but they look like quartzite crystals. They're pretty hard. I did the knife scratch test on them and didn't make a mark, so I still have yet to shoot them with the XRF gun and see what mineral is found in them. But I just can't figure out, save my life, why they would even be there.
It's a strange story. Did they try ever digging below where they found them?
I'm pretty sure they dug down a little further. I don't remember asking and don't remember him telling. But
That's really cool because this story is present and it's in the Wasatch Front.
well, this guy, out of all the years I have been dragged into the Spanish treasure hunt thing, this guy has more credible finds than anybody I've ever heard. This guy walked the walk. And he's not afraid to go after some of these things. In fact, a few of the projects that we're working on today originated with him. And just so he knows, if he happens to see this, I don't forget who the originator is. That'll be one of the first people to benefit from something.
Well, thank you for sharing it with us and sharing that with us.
Okay then.